Students of 8th class, let us study history, chapter 7, the Great Uprising of 1857. We shall avoid chapter 8, that is the reform movements, because as it is not in the syllabus. So, chapter 7, we shall study political causes, economic causes, social and religious causes, military causes, immediate cause, and spread of the revolt. We shall avoid causes of failure of the revolt. Then we shall study results of the revolt, that is consequences, and what is the nature of revolt, that is a great uprising. Students, we know that British had already occupied India, most of the Indian peninsula and northern and southern India in 1840 after the annexation of Punjab. So there was one administration, one rule, and one law. So now the India had been united. Earlier there were separate principalities, the Punjabis, the Gujarat kingdoms, the Rajput kingdoms. But now the India has been united under one administration. So if they suffer under one administration. So automatically, if someone revolts, automatically all will revolt because as it is one administration. So there had been discontentment. Discontentment means dislikeness against the British rule in Madhya Pradesh, Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, and so on. Already Bills, Coles, Santals, they were revolting against Britishers, its rule. So we can call this great uprising also Sepoy mutiny, soldiers mutiny, revolt. Okay, we can also call it as a first war of independence. And there are causes why this event happened. I always tell you, students, whatever event occurs in any place of the world, there are some events. Oh, sorry, there are some causes. So, Great Uprising also, or First War of Independence also has some of the causes. That is the political causes, economic causes, social, religious causes, and military causes. And we shall be looking forward for this. Lord Rosie and Lord Curzon, even other Lord of the company, General of the company, played some policies which were not liked by the Indian people, either the religious, the orthodox, or the aristocrats, and so on. So, students, Lord Dalhousie policy of expansion was aggressive. It caused great discontentment, hatred towards the rulers of India, and also, especially doctrine of lapse, annexation of states on grounds of maladministration. Maladministration means misruling the people. That means the British blamed particular ruler that he is doing maladministration, he is misruling the people, he doesn't know how to rule the people. So in this way, putting so many blames on rulers and annexing the kingdom was one cause. Another by his policy of doctrine of lapse. That means the higher son cannot become the next king, and there were kingdoms who suffered under this condition, that is a doctrine of lapse, that is Nagpur, Jhansi, Stara, Jaipur, Sambalpur. Even Nana Sahib suffered because he was adopted son, so Britishers stopped his pension. Mughal ruler Bahadur Shah Zafar also suffered in the same way, that he got insulted. He was removed from the Red Fort and sent to somewhere in one or two room near Qutub Minar. So such was the insult done to such rulers. So they couldn't bear. The people couldn't bear such insult. So there was revolt. There were some economic causes, as we know, as we have read in the last first unit test chapter, that there were a lot of economic exploitation by the British government. The whole land was confiscated. That means most of the Jagirdars who owned the land, the owners who owned the land was confiscated. Means was snatched by the Britishers. And revenue in cash was introduced. And this was a beginning for the misery and pain for the peasants of India, farmers for India. The peasants were exploited by moneylenders and zamindar. That means these moneylenders and zamindars were appointed by the Britishers, though they were Indian, but they exploited the farmers and charged heavy taxes on them. Even if there was a famine, the farmers suffered, but in return, government did not give any compensations. With the coming of the Industrial Revolution, markets were flooded with machine-made goods, and Indian artisans, weavers couldn't compete with the machine-made goods because it was introduced in bulk, and also its finishing was great and it was cheaper. So our Indians homemade goods couldn't compete with the machine-made goods. So in this way also we had great loss in the economy. When an Indian state was annexed, the administration was replaced by the company rule. So many were left in unemployed. Many were thrown out of the service. And the poets, the singers, the painters, they were spotted by the kings and the nobles. But now there was no support, uh, there were no patrons. There was constant drain of wealth from India to Britain. They used to take revenue from India, buy the goods from that revenue, raw material, and carry to England's factories. In this way, it is known as a drain of wealth, carrying the wealth from India to England. Then during tenure of Bentinck, Lord Rosie, thousands of Zagir Zamindar Talukdars' land was snatched. So in this way, economic causes and political causes became a great cause for the uprising of 1857. In the next part, we shall study socio religious causes and immediate causes. Thank you.